Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University School of Performing and Visual Arts, SOPVA. Certificate in Visual Arts Applied Arts, CVAA. OVA 003 An Introduction to Indian Arts. Block-1 Indian Painting, Major School. Unit-3 Company, Bengal and Contemporary School of Painting. 3.1 Introduction. In the previous unit we have gone through the development of miniature school paintings in detail. This has given us an idea how the Indian hereditary artists learned new techniques in painting under the Mughal master painters. After the decline of Mughals, India was brought under the colonial rule. This time the masters were Europeans and the Indian artists altered their thinking and artistic abilities to the taste of the company officers and masters. In this unit we will study how the trends and approaches in Indian painting have changed during colonial times. Bengal movement was in protest of British approaches in art. After the independence the fresh approaches were followed by Indian artists. It is very interesting to study all these changing trends in art. Objectives. After studying this unit you will be able to times distinguish the different schools of paintings in India. Times discuss the changes that occurred in cultural life of the concerned period. Times understand the modern art movement heralded the freshness of expression. 3.2 Colonial influences. India faced the rule of European powers such as British and French from the beginning of 18th century. India became the major colony of British as such political and economic systems changed according to their needs. So also the art forms began to alter themselves to cater the interest of the masters. The British officers of East India Company began to record their life, visits, nature study, flowers, plants, fruits etc., interesting incidents that they came across through sketches and paintings done by the visiting British artists and local artists. The paintings and sculptures produced during this period are considered as company period paintings. Since photography was not discovered, these paintings were put in albums and sent to Britain. British artist Daniel published the book with limited number of copies known as Oriental Scenery, using large-size prints based on the paintings they have done when they visited India. The British established art schools in Bombay, the present J.J. School. Calcutta, Government Fine Arts College, Madras, Arts and Crafts College, and imparted art education in the British formal way. The students trained in these schools were employed in publication division, as teachers, recorders, artists and many such other places. The British academic style of painting emerged during colonial times. The famous artist Raja Ravi Verma has mastered this style of painting. He used oil and canvas, painted in Western techniques but chosen Indian subjects for his portrayal. 3.3 Bengal School. The beginning of 1900 was marked with national spirit in India. Every group of people participated in the freedom struggle. One of the way of protest was rejecting all that was British. The artists of Bengal under the leadership of Abhindranath Tagore and Nandalal Bose protested against British by rejecting to paint in Western style. Instead they visited Ajanta and explored the possibilities of painting in Indian way by using natural, powder colors. They understood the strength of line and content in India painting. The Japanese artists like Hakkura visited India and Indian artists learned the wash technique in water color. Number of times the light coating of colors mixed with water has to be given. In this technique care has to be taken in drying the surface each time before painting. 7 to 21 coats of wash were used. Indian natural tempera colors, watercolors, mural and miniature styles of paintings were taken seriously again. With all these efforts, revival of Indian painting took place. From 1900 to 1920 the Indian artists refused to paint in British style. This revivalist movement originated in Bengal and spread to other parts of India. The woman artist by name Amrita Shergill and the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore gave the insight of universality to Indian art. 3.4 Indian painting after independence. After India got independence in 1947, every stream of life began to emerge according to the fresh needs. In the field of art also new interests and new trends appeared. In the field of dance, Rukmini Devi arundled a movement of revival of Indian dance and its status as classical art. In visual art, progressive group of artists in Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta introduced several approaches on which the future of Indian art stood on. The artists such as Hebbar, Bendre, Ara, Souza, Raza, M.F. Hussain, and others of that generation were the members of progressive art group. Artists like Venkatappa, Devi, Prasad Roy Chaudhary, Binod Bihari Mukherjee, Ram Kinkar Baj, Sornath Ho, K.G. Subramanyam, Meera Mukherjee, and others made their mark in the field of Indian visual arts after independence. 3.5 Modern Earth Movement. These artists are the pioneers of Indian modern art movement. Freedom of ideas and expression were reflected in Indian painting, sculpture, and architecture. The artists began to look for different sources for their expression. It is interesting to know that the rich heritage of India offered variety of ideas, and each region came out with new expression. New art schools and departments were set up under universities such as Shantiniketan, Baroda, Delhi, Bangalore, Mysore, and Chandigarh, etc. During 1960, a band of young artists emerged from these institutions to express freely their individual expression, choosing from a variety of sources. They had set a trend resulting into different phases in Indian visual arts, and it continues. Figurative phase. In the early stages of modern art movement in India, every artist experimented with the human, animal, structural, and other forms in nature. As such, the figures were drawn or imagined with fresh outlook. The figures were portrayed in strong lines by artists like Hebbar, N.S. Bendre and M.F. Hussain from Bombay, Nandlal Bose, and Gaganendranath Tagore from Calcutta. Some artists like Souza and Sultan Ali, Kishan Khanna, Santanam, and others did not put the figures in the natural form or proportions. Rather, they overemphasized and made them look oversized, that is, distorted. Folk art phase. Some of the artists were inspired by Indian folk art. They chose their form sourced from folk figures, colors, and themes. K.K. Hebbar was inspired by the Yakshagana art, originated in South Canara, Kamtaka. Gemini Roy picked up his forms from Kalighat paintings from Calcutta and Ramkinkar Baj from the Santala tribes. Later, Lakshma Goyad and others expressed the folk elements in other mediums such as printmaking. In printmaking, they chose engraving and enameling. Tantric phase. Indian heritage has offered many phases of artistic development. One such phase is the Tantric worship, where the male or female energy is taken into consideration. The chantings are consecrated on the geometrical patterns and the deities which are uncommon. These geometric motifs or patterns are based on the union of male and female principles. The artists like Berende, G.R. Santosh, and others have used these philosophic principles in their artistic expression. Spiritual phase. The ultimate expression of art lies in the act of spirituality. Indian spiritual heritage is a great contribution to world order. Artists like Raza, Haridasan, K.K. Hebbar, and others used the Panchbhuta Tattva, the primordial elements such as earth, sky, air, fire, and water in relating to their forms, and painted some great works. Symbolist phase. Indian rituals, folk or temple rituals, and marriage rituals are highly symbolic. The gestures, mantras, the motifs are symbolically expressed by artists like Panikkar, Reddappa, and Aidu. Kekehebar and others. Abstract phase. Some artists rejected the figurative forms and tried to express in the abstract manner, like use of different colors, falling of natural forms, etc. Adimulam, one Ahangir Sabwala, Akbar Padmasi and others fall in this category. 3.5.1 Contemporary art. Contemporary is present art. The changing trends in Indian visual arts are very much in response to global happenings in the field of visual arts. In contemporary times scope in the application of art principles has widened the possibilities of using ideas and art materials in response to the present world around us. Freedom of expression is a great priority. As a result, the contemporary art is highly individualistic. It began with mixed media where different techniques and materials are used in creating one work. Later, combining video, photography and digital medias are also used in creating artworks. Environment itself became the space for art. As a result, installation art emerged as important medium. Combining acting, music, dance, poetry, open space, nature into visual arts is the significant feature of contemporary art. 3.6 Summary. In this unit, we have tried to view the development painting as an art in various periods of Indian history. So far we have learned that times we are able to answer the questions arising from the heritage of Indian painting. Times the techniques and the subjects of painting have changed due to colonial times. Indian artists worked under the directions of the European masters. There is a strong impact of colonial influences on Indian painting. Times during the struggle of Indian independence, the artists from Bengal protested against British way of teaching art. They looked towards the Eastern culture for their ideas, techniques and inspiration. Times after the independence, the artists painted with fresh ideas with freedom of expression. As a result, progressive artists group were formed in Bombay, Madras and Calcutta. Times Indian modern art movement has brought many streams of expression and a trend has been set to exhibit the works in the art gallery. An art critic reviews the art works and published in the newspaper and magazines. Many books were published on art. Thank you.